What's up, I'm Vroom and welcome to VroomReacts to what exactly does space travel do to your body?
For over 50 years,
go.
humans have been exploring space. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched the world's first artificial satellite into space, called Sputnik 1. Since then, we've landed on the moon, created the International Space Station, and launched the Hubble telescope into space. And nowadays, there is talks of sending humans to Mars within the next several decades.
So if you want to join, there is still time to enroll. It's a one-way trip though. So you're not coming back, but you will be the first to colonize Mars.
But what would a trip like that actually do to the human body? Let's jump in our space shuttle and find out.
Yeah, everybody has a space shuttle at their disposal. Sure thing.
The most well-known consequences of space travel is the weakening of bones. Throughout your life, your bones are broken down by large cells called osteoclasts, releasing calcium into the bloodstream. And at the same time,
okay.
Other cells called osteoblasts make new bone. And for most of your life, these two processes tend to balance each other out.
So one are called osteoclast, the other are called osteoblast. Why are they called the same thing, almost like with one letter difference? Osteoclasts, osteoblasts, osteo whatever it is thing is.
But that changes when an astronaut goes to space and lives in microgravity. That's because their bones don't have to support as much weight and they aren't subjected to the same stresses that they would be on Earth. As a result, the calcium in their bones is broken down and released into the bloodstream, reflecting a decrease in bone density. Some scientists think that's because the body breaks down bones much faster than it builds them up in microgravity.
So you have microgravity and then you slowly but surely use up the calcium in your bones and you just become weaker and weaker. You become a weakling physically.
And within a single month, an astronaut's bone density can decrease by as much as 1%, which can lead to an increased risk of bone fractures when they return to Earth. One small step for man,
one broken bone for the astronaut. So 1% per month is like in 100 months, you're basically boneless. You're a blob without any backbone, a slug crawling around. Yeah, let's become an astronaut.
One possibly dangerous step for a returning astronaut. There's also bad news for an astronaut's muscles, particularly in their legs and back due to a lack of use. Exercise can help prevent this, but one study found that even with exercise, muscle volume and strength still decreased.
If you are in space, you can exercise, but it doesn't even help you to remedy the effects of being in space completely. So the longer you're in space, the more you're screwed, basically. Yay.
Clearly, humans were not meant to live in space. The list of negative effects just keeps going. Without an Earth-like gravity, astronauts can even have vision problems. Researchers studied 27 astronauts who spent an average of 108 days in space, and found that around 22% of them showed flattening of the back of the eyeball.
So you have problems with your vision, you have problems with your bones because your bones get weaker, you have problems with your eyesight because your eyesight gets distorted and gets weaker. You have problems with your muscles because even though you train, they become weaker. So why go to space at all? Let's stay on the planet.
And a lot of the optical abnormalities are similar to those found in people with idiopathic intracranial hypertension.
If you're looking for a nice word to practice every evening before going to bed, it would be idiopathic intracranial hypertension.
The heart also changes in space.
Oh, yeah,
and not
sure.
just because that spectacular view of Earth makes it skip a beat. It's actually a lot sadder, because an astronaut's heart can potentially lose mass and become slightly more spherical,
so it's
possibly because of a decrease of blood in the body. And when these astronauts come back to Earth, they might experience a decrease in blood pressure, making them dizzy and even faint after standing up.
So, you come back to Earth. Not only do you have potentially broken bones because the bones got weaker, also your muscles are weaker, which means you can't perform the things you did before the same way you did. Your heart doesn't pump your blood as it used to, and also your eyes don't see the same way they did when you started from Earth. That's a nice list of reasons why not to become an astronaut.
All of this sure gives you a greater respect for astronauts, huh?
Yeah, sure, or never ever become one. Don't even think about it.
Earlier this year, NASA astronaut Scott Kelly and Russian cosmonaut Mikhail Kornienko returned to Earth after a year in space.
A year in space, that is 12 months, that is 12% of bone less in the body, and I don't know how much muscle, and eye problems and problems with the heart, with the circulation. Oh my god, they're still alive.
This mission will help scientists learn even more about how long spaceflight affects the human body. And since Scott Kelly has an identical twin brother who stayed on Earth during that time, scientists can even study genetic changes that may have occurred. After all, if we're planning on eventually sending a lot of people to Mars and back, we'll need to know how the trip will affect them.
Oh, that's a good thing. He has a twin brother, so that means that they can literally just map him one for one and see what changes the space travel did to the twin brother, while at the same time poking the guy who stayed on Earth and compare the results with both. Well, yeah, going to space, going to Mars is going to be a very, very laborious, gigantic endeavor. I don't think the first generation is ever coming back, but there are a lot of people willing to do that. So I hope they do come back in a few generations and they're able to do that and they land on Mars in the first place. So thank you much for watching. Please tell me what you liked the most about this video and what you thought is the most astonishing about traveling through space. The eyes, the bones, the muscles, or the heart. Which one is the most fatal to you? Anyways, please subscribe to the channel for more awesome reaction videos and see you in the next episode. Have a nice one. Take care. Because say that 3 times quickly in a row and you've all the practice you ever needed for your brain and for the way you pronounce words. Idiopathic intracranial hypertension, idiopathic intracranial hypertension, idiopathic intracranial hypertension. Okay.